But it does leave Blackfeather, Lance, Lyra, two of those heroes open to be picked. And obviously, I know I've talked about Blackfeather a lot, but he's really good at evading CC and diving onto a backline mage, which both teams have got. And you almost always see if Celeste is picked, Blackfeather's banned. Or if you ban Blackfeather, that implies you want to pick Celeste or even a Scarf. Of course, you said Taka could work, so that could be the thing they decide to go for. Roam Lance, and they're going to go for the Kestrel Celeste comp. So this is a jungle Celeste, definitely, and a lane weapon Kestrel. This comp is known for being fantastic at taking objectives, especially Kraken at 15 minutes. It just melts immediately. And I think, as you said, Taka would just be fantastic against both these heroes. It's a comfort pick. It's a counter pick. I think it makes perfect sense.
Yep, definitely. I mean, Taka would be the hero to go to at this point in time for draft, since, the side of Impunity, they have very, very squishy heroes, and their only wall in front would be that of Quarterfall on that of Lance. Problem with that is, picking up two squishies and then opening Taka to your enemies would mean that they can easily pick that up. They can bypass your Gideon Wall, your Impale. However, the side of J3X Infenro will actually settle for that Vox.
That is very interesting. I did not expect Vox at all. I don't think that's a very smart draft pick, personally. I think Vox against Kestrel is decent. If you get in range as a Vox, you can do a lot of damage against Kestrel. But Kestrel out-damages you with basics and obviously with Glimmer shots. So Vox is going to be taking a lot of poke from Kestrel. And they've only really got Scarf to try and counteract the poke from Celeste and Kestrel. So I think it's definitely I have to put the advantage on Celeste and Kestrel, because they will siege turrets incredibly quickly. Vox hasn't got the quickest clear speed. So if Scarf's stuck in jungle and Celeste has rotated up to lane, that will be really hard for Vox to defend the turrets.
Yep, I must agree with you. It's a rather strange and peculiar draft coming up from the side of J3X Infenro. However, I just think that they want to play heroes that they are very, very comfortable on. And probably iBaby is just not very comfortable putting that Scarf into that of lane, and thus Bim is placed on that Scarf. However, I personally think, competition at this level, like I said before, you really need to expand that of hero pool. However, coming to this game itself, we are jumping into the Halcyon Fold at this point in time. Quarterfall once again picking up the Dragon Blood contract as with yesterday. So we will be expecting Impunity going for very aggressive maneuvers in that of the early game.
Looks like both teams are going to be aggressive and go towards the Elder Treant. Quarterfall with that Dragon Blood, going to probably try and pocket. Misses the Impale, so Quarterfall going to take a lot of damage. Fan the flames from Scarf, doing a lot of work. Scarf can use the boots actually to try and secure this kill. Spitfire doesn't quite do enough, and now Defq trying to get those Glimmer shots in. Now J3X Inferno should freely be able to get two Treants, one away from Impunity and the Elder, whereas Kestrel smartly is deciding to just go for the lane. Go to lane, try and push it. He actually can't push the lane because he doesn't know where the members of J3X Inferno are. He thinks maybe they're waiting in the bush to come and kill me. We have no vision. We have no map control. And so he is forced to just back off and farm slowly. But Celeste gets the kill. Scarf died to the Elder Treant, and Kahlua had to secure that. That's not a way you want to give up first blood, Luxuria.
That is not indeed. And that was, I guess, just overconfident as to your tankiness as a Scarf. But all in all, it is 300.
Grace is like full health as well. Just let the Grace tank it.
I guess, decision making is one of the things that J3X doesn't excel at. But all in all, I guess it will not affect them all too much. We do see a 100 gold lead for the side, or rather, at this point in time, very even in terms of gold lead. But I want to point out of a point that you pointed out earlier on, and that would be that Castro just does so well against Vox in that early game. And I must agree with you on that, because very simply, because Defq on this Castro, he's very comfortable on this Castro, and on top of that as well, the amount of burst from Weapon Castro in that early game just outscales Vox's damage. However, Vox can actually build a very early Poison Shift that way, just to counteract the burst coming up from Castro and just to help with the sustain in that of lane.
Yeah, I think Vox might get a Poison Shift. It's likely, even though there aren't any healers, It's just useful against the E that Celeste is going to build, and that's going to be Baby get pushed back by the Githium wall. But who's in trouble? It is Quadrivoire. One basic attack does secure the kill. Defq gets a stun with the active camera, but it's not enough. Kahlua still alive. Baby very healthy, and there's an Iron Guard contract on Kahlua, so they're going to be able to regen health. Celeste trying to come up to lane to give Defq a bit of a hand, and he's going to be able to farm under turret. Now Bim Bim gonna rotate out, nice Spitfire onto Defq. All the minions have gone, so nothing really going to come out of this except support here.
Yeah, this will really just go down to Blue City, but Blue City's on the chase for Kahlua.
He wants to go in, and Kahlua is going to fall with the Impale. One more Heliogenesis able to secure the kill. There's some nice vision actually from Quar. We saw that scout trap yesterday, and it's in exactly the same place, and it worked extremely well.
It does indeed, and I must say, it's a rather weird, I will not say it's a weird position to put your scout trap, but honestly, in that path itself, it reveals a lot because of the rotations, and on top of that as well, it allows the entirety of Impunity to see where you are as a team. So, you know, and Impunity, they are known for the sentry rotation of sorts, and thus having a scout trap there just gives them more control over the enemy's jungle. And I'm quite surprised because I'm sure J3X Infenro, if they've watched yesterday's matches, would have probably just popped that scout trap there, but unfortunately that is not the case. However, we do not see the aggression coming up from Impunity like that of yesterday when they had the Scarf and Castro pump. Instead, you know, it is a rather passive game all in all, and honestly they just want Blue City to really farm up, get that level 8, get, you know, the extra range on Heliogenesis before they actually want to commit to anything by the way they are playing at this point in time.
Yeah, Impunity are free to just wait for the power spike on Celeste. I think that would be a smart move, and it looks like Baby could be going for the Breaking Point Double Tyrants build on Vox. I think that it's quite a good build, and it's seen quite a bit of an emergence given the nerfs to Tension Bow and Poison Shiv. People have gone back with the extremely old and old Breaking Point Double Tyrants. It does work, and it will deal a lot of damage if you can build up those Breaking Point stacks on Lance. Only problem with this build is obviously in a 1v1 against Kestrel, Vox will have no chance unless he's already built up 7-8 Breaking Point stacks before the fight starts.
Or maybe Baby watch a little too much EU and wants to replicate Tricky on that Vox. Maybe so, maybe not, I'm not sure, because Tricky came out with a build, double Tornado Trigger, Tension Bow and Breaking Point, a lot of attack speed, and as long as there's a lot of meat in front to soak up damage, well, just hold my point.
Yeah, it was, but that was a Tension Bow first in that build, I'm pretty sure, and Breaking Point was the 4th item he picked up.
Yeah.
So it's more of a burst Vox build, which could work against this Kestrel. Maybe Baby's gone, okay, I can just copy this build and change the build order, but we'll just have to wait and see. Lance has got his Fountain, so that's reasonably late, but there weren't any real big team fights, so Quadrivoire won't be caught out for not having that early. Although J3X Infenro pushing the turret, nice glimmer shots, 300 crit, but that turret is so low. Dragon Ball Contract on Kahlua will not be popped in time, and that turret is about 5 HP away from dead, but it is alive, and there is no minion wave to push. Blue City's back in lane and almost level 8, so this is really good for Impunity. They haven't lost the time. Double impale, double stun, actually blocked up by Baby very nicely. That is going to be a miss on the knockup. Quadrivoire forced to use the Fountain on himself. Lovely Solar Storm, picking 2 members of J3X Inferno, and the impale should be a kill. No, Kahlua boots away, able to survive. And now Defq is going to push the wave. Baby is unable to do so because he's very low and has to back off because he's Vox, hasn't got that range. Kahlua within a glimmer shot of death, possibly, and it looks like Impunity wants to do their own turret. Lovely core collapse, should be a death of time in Bim, and it will with the basic attack from Celeste. And they do not juggling turret aggro the best. The minions are almost going to fall. That is a half health turret for J3X Inferno, and actually Kahlua using the ultimate, but both teams are backing off, and that should be okay.
Yeah, but Baby at this point in time is in a position to actually push this turret, and I'll be surprised if, you know, the side of J3X Inferno will not. However, Baby will take the last hit on that turret, leaving, and this is quite the change up, the shake up that we were expecting coming up from J3X Inferno. Like before the game even started, you were saying that J3X Inferno might just take 1 game away from Impunity, and whether or not the training, the 10 to 11 hours of practice and Vainglory would just be counter-reactive to, you know, getting better at the game. rather than just stressing your head out. So in this particular case, we usually would see Impunity being the aggressors, going very aggressively, taking up the first objective in terms of the turret, and then going for that sentry rotation afterwards. But however, at this point in time, we are seeing Impunity really struggling going up against J3X Infenro and Kahlua on this race.
Yep, going to go in. Kahlua just getting a little bit of damage. Lux is actually very low from the poke from Scarf and obviously that engage from Kahlua. It looks like J3X Infenro could go for a gold mine, and that is probably what they're going to start up. There is no healing treant now. It has just spawned, so that will be contested by both teams. Celeste has a Helio on it, and it'll probably be secured by Scarf. Yeah, Lux be forced to back off. Impale misses, and this could be the engage of J3X Infenro. Good damage from Baby. He's already on 6 breaking point stacks. And it looks like they're going to start the gold mine. I doubt there'll be any contest apart from maybe a blind Solar Storm into blind one-shot, one-kill to provide vision. But there's a ton of steal just from range, so J3X Infenro needs to be extremely careful. Celeste, Helio, one shot, misses, nice dodge, and that is going to be secured by Scarf. Actually, Lance picked up a Crucible while he was shopping, and Scarf gets the gold mine. Nothing in the end happens, and Crucible actually finished on Kahlua as well, so that's really important to block the Impale. If you block the Impale, they'll miss the core collapse, and then your Vox can really get onto the back line. Kestrel with a Tornado Trigger second item. Normally you see Tyrants, but it's a reasonably good item.
Yeah, I guess you get your clipper shots up a little faster, you have, a little more attack speed, and that will help you in the long run, the longer run at least. But all in all, we are seeing Baby on this Vox, and he's just going back onto the very old build of Vox, and that would be Breaking Point into Double Tyrant's Monocle, like you mentioned earlier on. And at this point in time in the game, it is working relatively well for the side of J3X Infenro. We do not see a lot of Vox at this point in time because of the nerves that Vox took indirectly and directly on the previous patch, and of course at this patch as well. So Baby, just changing up the builds and going for this build, I guess all in all, it is fair play, and it's very good play, in fact, coming out for the side of J3X Infenro, being able to adapt to the meta and just being able to upscale the entirety of Impunity because of this build.
There's going to be some good damage onto Baby. There's the wait for it. Going to go out and connect. Kahlua is going to fall over. Def Q gets the kill. Celeste actually secures that one onto Baby. Now Bim trying to 1v3. Quarterbar going in. Going to Impale actually be blocked. One shot does connect, but Githimore was not necessary, and Bim using his healing flask is going back towards the shot, but not going to pick anything up. He's going to dodge the Impale, but cannot dodge the core collapse. So much damage. One more basic attack is not going to quite, but the Helio will, and that is a delayed ace for Impunity. Nice space of Bim to make sure they don't get the regen, and Impunity needs to be careful because they're very low. Scout Trap doesn't quite pick up Def Q, and they're actually not going to get anything from that delayed ace. They're just going to back off.
Yep, and this is the problem earlier on. It's that Bim just, went into the fight a little too late, and that was the problem because Kahlua was just up front taking up too much damage than he should. Baby.
Speaking of damage, Baby's going to take a lot of it. He's going to block the core catch, but it will not be enough. Supernova, too much damage. Baby out of position, trying to push the wave, and this could be a tier 1 turret for Impunity. They've got the minions coming deathly slowly, and they probably are going to be able to boost it. Actually blocking for the minions. That's not the smartest play. Now Def Q onto the turret. That will fall easily. Solar Storm, massive damage, half health of Bim. Some good glimmer shots onto Kahlua for poke, and Quartervoir pushes that Spitfire away. Impunity do manage to secure the tier 1 turret finally.
Yep, I mean, all in all, Impunity from the start of the game had that kill advantage, but J3X Infenro in the initial part of the game just played a little better in terms of just objective taking and objective control. They took the gold mine, they took the first turret away from Impunity, but even then they did not have that gold lead that Impunity had. Throughout from minute 1 to now, it is quite even all in all, and Impunity, whoa!
Lance gets the gold mine, one shot, one kill, doesn't quite do enough, but Quartervoir with the steal, and that does just stretch out the gold lead that Impunity have got up to about 2.5k, which is reasonable. That's about it's almost a tier 3 item, but obviously it's split between all three members of J3X Infenro, so not massive, definitely not insurmountable. But Celeste has got 3 damage items, whereas Bim's only got 2. And similarly, Kestrel's got 3, Vox has got 2. So this is the time for Impunity to fight if they're They let the match delay anymore. That's a triple impale by S1W1 to get the Immortal just to push Baby back. He's going to boots away out of the Clap Dragon's Breath being channeled, and he's going to go on to Blukesty. Lots of damage, and the wait for it does come out on S1W1, not doing too much. Nice damage from Baby. Not got many breaking point stacks though. DefQ trying to clear the way as Healing Dance is coming down. Supernova not quite going to hit anyone. That's a lovely one-shot, one kill, and Solar Storm. Blukesty is so low. Kalua not quite able to do enough. I've been once again full health in this team fight. Hasn't even got an even harvest. In fact, I was wrong. Navimir only has 1 tier 3 item, whereas Celeste has 3 Luxuria, and that is a fight for win for Impunity.
That is definitely an Impunity. Will be going for the Sentry at this point in time just to push their control a little more. And in that case, we saw Naibimim just did not partake in the fight whatsoever. And on top of that as well, he just do not have the damage that Celeste has. Like you mentioned, Naibimim has got 1 tier 3 item, whereas Celeste has got full 3 tier 3 items, and that was Spell Doom. Because, I mean, looking at CS overall, Blue City, it's kind of even, all in all, but it's just that Blue City has got 7 kills under his belt, and thus able to pick up, you know, just more items as compared to Naibimim on that Scarf. So what J3X can do at this point in time is stop forcing fights, and instead, rather than forcing fights, maybe try to just turtle up a little bit, farm up for Naibimim, and then take a fight after Naibimim gets at least the Eve of Harvest, if not then Clockwork, if they need to.
Yeah, looks like Baby wants to get a bit of poke down, and J3X Inferno, despite what you were suggesting, look like they do want to engage. There is no need for them to fight until 15 minutes when Kraken spawns. Then they kind of get forced to get a flare on Kraken and check if the enemy's doing it. Then you have to contest, you have to try and kill them. But for now, they can just secure their farm and wait. But it looks like Impunity are going to try and push the issue. Looks the level 12, and they're going to go in. That's an interesting play from Celeste. A little bit of lag possibly. And yeah, the Impunity really want to fight, but J3X Inferno don't look like they are in the position to do so. Obviously, Naibimim has now got 2 items, which is slightly better, but he's still not infused, whereas Blukesty is. DefQ, 4 full damage items. Vox has 3 and not quite got an Aegis. This is going to be a very stutter step heavy Kestrel build with 2 tornado triggers as opposed to 2 Tyrant's Monocles. It's still 100% crit chance, but it's just a lot more attack speed and stutter stepping as opposed to Glimmer Shots.
Yeah, I guess you only have 4 bursts of Glimmer Shots, or rather 4 Glimmer Shots for your burst damage, whereas for Castro himself as hero, but I'll just have to hold that thought, but maybe I'll continue. So for Castro as a hero, your basic attack just deals so much more damage as compared to Vox. Like you mentioned earlier on, it's that Vox with this particular build would not have enough damage whatsoever, and on top of that, he does not have the sustain the traditional Vox build has, like the point shift into breaking point, and then of course the tension bow. So with that build, Vox has got sustain, can stay in fights for a longer period of time, whereas Baby on this particular build do not have the sustain that point shift provides, and on top of that as well, he needs that burst, he needs to build up, but the entirety of J3X Inferno, the team comp itself, do not quite allow that breaking point build up for Vox.
Yeah, and J3X Inferno were trying to do a sneaky turret push, but S1W1 just stalling the minions well enough, so that was not possible. And it does look like J3X Inferno have map position despite being behind in gold. So that's a good rotation from them, but they do want to back off now. There's no need for them to get in a fight where Impunity can just retreat to their sentry. You want to be able to back off yourself and not give up the ace. But I think it's just both teams want to position around Kraken, keep vision control. S1W1 is actually way behind on vision compared to what Kalua is doing. Kalua is buying many more scout traps. And yeah, both teams just don't want to fight. Scarf just farming up, which, as you said, Scarf needs to do to get level with this Celeste. And it is quite ridiculous how Celeste is just completely at item ahead of Scarf, despite there wasn't much of a gold lead before. And now Impunity are doing the exact same rotation that J3X Inferno were doing. This time, J3X not pausing home, they want to fight. And there's going to be some nice Spitfires. Not quite going to step. Kalua taking a lot of poke. There's the goop. There's Dragon's Breath of Naibimim with no broken myth stacks. Very interesting decision. And he's going to take a lot of poke from Blukesty and DefQ. And that is going to be Kalua going down to the Solar Storm. Baby building up 8 breaking point stacks, blocks the Impale. And now it's 1v3. No, not enough. Glimmer Shot picks up the kill. That is an ace for Impunity.
That is an ace for Impunity, and Impunity will go on to take this turret and possibly the second turret, or rather the anchor turret for J3X Infenro as well. DevQ has got a damage, have got double turrets Monaco, double tornado trigger, and of course one turret Monaco. Just look at the amount of damage that he has. So like said, with the amount of CCs coming out from the entirety of J3X Infenro, you would think that they would have the upper charge. They have one very reliable silence in terms of wait for it on Vox, and on top of that as well, Kalua has got the stun up, or rather the knock up coming out from Grace's Holy Nova. But for me, just watching all the fights that has been unraveling, it just seems that the entirety of J3X Infenro is just not using those CCs that they have. One shot, one kill comes out.
And Baby's going to get nice breaking point stacks onto Cordovar up 7. Now Kestrel's there. Baby needs to change target. Silence does land onto Cordovar, but Kestrel is going to do so much work onto Kalua and Baby. Scarf has to drag him back away. He knows he's dead. We know he's dead, and that will be game 1 going to Impunity.
That would be game 1 going over to Impunity, but I must say, in that of the early game, J3X Infenro definitely played well. They pushed their objective, but they just do not have the rotation, they don't have the macros like that of Impunity. The moment Impunity found a loophole for them to hold on to, they hung on to it, and they immediately just posed the comeback. From minute 1 to the end, we saw Impunity have got that kill advantage, but the goal was rather even. Even when J3X Infenro took the first gold mine, it's 400 gold to each member, and on top of that as well, the first turret, that's an additional, that's basically 600 gold to each member, and yeah, the gold difference was just even. And that is really just down because Impunity just played so well in terms of their macro plays.
Yeah, it really was impressive to see Impunity basically turn that game around, because it looked from the start like J3X were going to snowball it pretty successfully and stop Impunity having any chance to come back. But they really pushed their objective focus and fought when they had the power spikes. J3X kind of got baited into fighting whenever Impunity wanted to, but Impunity would only fight if they just picked up a tier 3 item. They were just ahead. They were only slightly ahead in gold, but that translated into items, and then they got an ace, and then, of course, you're going to snowball from there, get turrets, get objectives, sentries, and farm taken away. So Impunity really, they knew when to fight, and that was what turned the game for them.
Honestly, if you don't ask me, I personally think that it was just down to the fight where the entirety of J3X Infenro, they were trying to push that turret, and Snai Bim Bim on that scarf was just a tad too late to the fight, left the fight at full health, came to it at full health as well, but of course, by the time he came into the fight and joining his allies has been taken out, if not by Castro, then because of Blue City. So that is one thing that J3X Infenro maybe have to work on. That is just the pure synergy. They have got the micro plays. All in all, I must say, they know how to apply pressure in the early game. They know where the power spikes are, especially when you have a Scarf going up against the Celeste. But problem with that is they just do not have the synergy like that of Impunity.
Yeah, I think it definitely the time that Impunity have practiced together was really showing, and they just know how to chain their CC. Even if it wastes a block and you don't get the CC chain off, then you've wasted the block, and you can make sure that next time you use your stuns, they're going to connect for sure. And so that Impale would almost always land. That would be followed up by a core collapse and then a Githian wall. They'd never push someone out of a core collapse, which is something you see newer teams do quite a lot. It's with a Lance, they will use that Githian wall incorrectly. They'll just use it to push people maybe out of a goop or out of what your team wants to do. Whereas we saw Lance attempt to push someone into a one-shot, one-kill, which just is something that you have to talk about. Say, I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna one-shot, and then the Lance has to be ready for that and push them in. So it's really impressive to see from Impunity.
Definitely, it is very impressive to see. But for the next game, like we've always and constantly mentioned whenever we see Impunity playing, it's that probably just remove Castro from, the entirety of Impunity. Just do not allow Impunity to pick up this Castro. No matter if you think your vaults encounter Castro in your ranked games, but coming into Impunity, it is just so very different.
Yeah, definitely. It could be an option to first ban the Kestrel, maybe second ban if they don't think you can first pick it. But we are going to find out because the draft is ready. Without further ado, we're going to be heading into the draft of the second match.
Yep, this time J3X Inferno on the blue side, so they will have the first ban and first pick and Impunity on that on the red side. So like said earlier on, Castro may be held of priority at this point in time, just removing that from dev queue. And even Lance, picking up Lance for yourself would definitely do your teams a lot of favor, because we saw how comfortable Quarter4 was on that Lance. Granted, he missed a couple of impales, but those he landed were very, very crucial. And that is one thing that J3X Inferno has to learn immediately, and of course, adapt to the play style of Impunity. They granted J3X Inferno, they have got a very early aggression, they know where the power spikes are, but all in all, they just allowed Impunity to just farm up, or even just allow Blue City to farm up on that of Celeste. However, we do see an Idris being taken out from the equation from the side of J3X Inferno.
Yeah, they're going to do the same ban as last game. Idris makes sense if you don't want to go up against that. Idris is extremely good against their Vox as well, which is a comfort pick for Baby. I wouldn't be surprised if Impunity ban away Catherine again. Go for a similar draft and maybe try and pick up a similar comp, because you won last game, so just do it again. Whereas maybe they want to try and counter the Catherine because their B side. I think it just makes the most sense for Impunity to get rid of it, because they didn't want to play against it in the first game, and they're going to actually ban away their own Lance. So that implies they want to get either Catherine or Grace, and I'm pretty sure that if one's picked up for J3X Inferno, Impunity's going to get the other one.
Yep, I mean, Impunity at this point in time can just settle for Catherine, although Catherine receives slight changes in this particular patchup. But all in all, the amount of CCs that she offers, and in the previous game itself, you mentioned the Echo pickup on Catherine would be very valuable in terms of a 6 seconds in total silence for the entirety of J3X Inferno. If they do block out one, then at least that's 3 seconds of not being able to use your ability. So that would definitely favor the entirety of Impunity. However, Impunity will, or rather J3X Inferno will just settle for that Arden. We've not seen a lot of Arden being picked up, and I'm quite surprised Kahlua did not just settle for that Grace for their own side, because they just seem so very comfortable on that Grace.
Yeah, I think that would definitely make a good pick, but they're going to go Lyra instead. So completely different captain meta to what we saw in the first game. Lance versus Grace, and now we're going to see Arden versus Lyra. So Lyra obviously picked because the Bright Bulwark does a fantastic job at countering Arden. The Scarf ban's really smart because now it baits out a Celeste ban, and they can just go for a straight up Kestrel pick. And so what J3X is going to do is ban neither. We're just going to get rid of the Cruel. If you can go Kestrel, we're just going to pick up Celeste, and then you haven't got Scarf. And obviously vice versa works well. So that's good from J3X Inferno, because they know Kestrel is a really important pick. It's so strong. We saw how good Weapon Kestrel is and how good they are playing it. So I think that would be the most likely decision, to pick up Kestrel now and leave Celeste open, because you still got Blackfeather, Taka and Koshka to try and counter a Celeste by diving in.
Yep, definitely. I mean, they can pick up Kestrel for Death Queue at this point in time, but I must say, J3X Inferno, not very versatile with their draft. Even in the previous game itself, they banned out the Idris, they banned out the Cruel. Maybe these are heroes that they do not want to go up against. But all in all, I would prefer if they actually adopt their draft accordingly, especially to the first game. They didn't quite lose out in the first game in that of the early part of the game. But honestly, in the later part, they just did not have an answer to Death Queue whatsoever. So hopefully they would learn. But unfortunately, they will just settle for that Cruel and Idris. But a very interesting pickup coming out from the side of J3X Inferno, and that would be the pickup of Sky.
Yeah, you said their draft was very similar but very different with that Sky pick, and I hope it's Weapon, because Weapon Sky actually does really well against Kestrel. You can dodge all the Glimmer shots, but it's going to be another CP Sky. So lane Weapon Glaive is reasonably good against Kestrel. Early game, you can land every afterburn without question pretty much, because your afterburn does a little bit of damage when you pass through Kestrel, and so that'll be an easy punt back. And I think a last pick here, obviously they could just go Celeste again, and there's no reason not to. Sky is not fantastic against Celeste. It's not a particular counter pick, but I think going Celeste would be a really good comfort pick. And there's for me, it's a pretty simple decision, because the comp worked in the last game, and you're not countered by Sky, and so it's just a skill matchup, which I think they could win.
Yep, it's either Celeste or they can, if they are, very adventurous, in which we saw they are when they picked up Reza yesterday. So hopefully we get to see an Ozo. Ozo is one of those heroes that I really want to see coming out, and especially going up against the Sky when you are so mobile. I think it is a rather applicable pickup. They can settle for Celeste. They have got a siege potential since they banned out the Scarf. Means they own the other mage, and they can just run it similarly to the previous comp. And on top of that, they have got a Lyra for the extra sustain. But Lyra, Ozo, and Castro, I personally think this works so well. Ozo being the very countable bruiser that can just self-sustain. And on top of that, you have Lyra as well. So in the later part of the game, Ozo can just be a heck of a distraction, and DevQ can just put out so much damage. However, we do receive information that Black Feather will be last picked up for the side of Impunity.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with someone like a Lyra. You can get the extra heal from Ozo's Carly Luck perk, but they are going to end up with a Black Feather. That's a reasonably good pick. Black Feather does very well against Sky and quite well against Glaive. Do you think we're going to be seeing the CP Black Feather in the jungle? Or maybe we're going to see a Crystal Kestrel jungle in a lane Black Feather? Obviously, we know DefQ is extremely good at Kestrel, but no, DefQ is locked in the Black Feather. So we are actually going to see, most likely, as a CP jungle Kestrel. What do you think of that decision, Luxuria?
Well, I personally think that with CP Kestrel, what you have is your extra range, because a lot of damage will come from the splash after a Glimmer Shot. So you can stay from afar, and there's a lot of outplay potential for a CP Kestrel. So honestly, if you were to ask me, I think CP Kestrel would be a rather decent pickup. But overall, DevQ on that of Black Feather will do rather well going up against Nibim on a Weapon Glaive. So because we know both of them, they want to duel it out, and half the time Black Feather would win as long as Black Feather has got a reflex block in hand, can block out the afterburn. If not, then just rolls offensive out. So all in all, I think that the weapon Black Feather, it's wait, we are going to see a Crystal Black Feather and a weapon Kestrel.
We are, so that's a very interesting decision. Bluxley going on the weapon Kestrel. I think weapon Kestrel is quite smart in this comp, because CP Kestrel just would have a really tough job of poking with a Black Feather, because Black Feather's all about engage, CP Kestrel is all about poke, and so those two heroes don't really synergize well, whereas Weapon Kestrel and CP Black Feather have very similar ranges, with Weapon Kestrel's basic attack Glimmer Shot, and Black Feather with his Overdriven on point. And yeah, it's going to be a lane CP Black Feather, so this is definitely not what you would expect, but it's probably going to work out quite well. DefQ did actually lose a full wave of minions, because he got the jungle with Boogsty, so it's kind of worth it. But definitely can take a little bit of poke from Baby, and it looks like it's going to be a lane Crystal Sky as opposed to a lane Glaive. So very, very different from these teams, what they decide to put in each position. But that's going to be enough, Ben. On to DefQ, taking a lot of damage now. Mim tanks 2 turret shots. He probably might fall here. DefQ has not got the healing flask. Will he fall? One on point. Oh, the plays from DefQ. He's going to get the kill for Bluxley, and he wants a double. Impunity playing fantastically to secure that first blood.
That was definitely a very interesting, or rather impressive play coming out from quarter 4. I must say that Imperial Siege just dropped in time and just allowed DefQ to just continue. But I must say it was down to DefQ's microplay as well. DefQ could land that on point. Had he missed just slightly wide, and he would have just went down to Nibim. If not, then I Baby. But there is one thing that must point out. It's that although you come up with a very good gank, I must say Nibim came up with an afterburn, a very unexpected one, and you punted DefQ away from his turret, just leaving him very, very vulnerable. But DefQ could survive through all of that onslaught, waited for quarter 4 to come up to lane to just supply him with the Imperial Sigil. It's just very impressive, if you would ask.
Yeah, definitely. I think Baby's gonna just push this lane a little bit and then rotate probably to shop. Actually, no, Nibim is going to go for the other one. Lovely bright ball walk from far. blocking out the afterburn from Glaive. That is just fantastic play. That's just in anticipation. There's no way you can do that on reflex. The afterburn's just too quick. So he flared out, saw Glaive and went, yeah, he's going to afterburn. Let me just pop my Black Bulwark down and cancel that straight away.
Yep, so very good play. All in all, like I said, Impunities, their micros is good, but one thing to actually watch out for is actually how they move and rotate around the map. Just with one kill at hand, and just look at them, they have got the gold advantage already over to the side of J3X Inferno, and that is one thing that why, you know, Impunity just outshines a lot of teams out there, and it's just based and just down to how they move and rotate around the map itself.
Yeah, I think Impunity are certainly looking impressive. J3X need to try and find something to counter this, because Impunity just slowly edging out their gold lead as they a lot earlier than in the first game. And Bluxley gonna get hit by Nabim. Too much damage. Imperial will just keep them away. And I think J3X they're trying something different, as in they're trying the lane ganks, but it's just not working out too well because Lyra's ready. Lyra knows exactly when Glaive's going to be there, ready to Imperial Sigil, Bulwark, try and keep DefQ alive. And once it gets towards late game, this Crystal Black Feather's going to be hurting an awful lot. That's a lot of damage. 338 on the with the completed Shatterglass, and Baby should probably buy some defense items. I think someone needs to tell him that.
Yep. Hopefully, I mean, most of the time we do see when you have a Skye being picked up for your team, your Skye want to go very glass cannony altogether because of the damage reduction that she suffered from the previous patch. But with the 2% increase, I think you can afford a very early reflex block and wouldn't hurt you all too much. But then again, Baby, or rather Skye in itself, as a hero, you are so mobile, you can just dance around in the team fight itself. So, you know, you understand
another bright bulwark from Quadravoir was used, and then Glaive used his boots. And so he was obviously going to boot sit right after them, but Quadravoir denied another one. And they didn't actually use the afterburn, so it is available, but he definitely wanted to because boots are now on cooldown. So much damage, and there's going to be afterburn, going to land. Vainglory able to reposition, secure the kill onto Glaive, but he hasn't got glimmer shots. Going to wait for them. Baby takes the poke, takes the on point, but will get the Vanguard one shot onto Kahlua, tanking it, and that will be Baby able to survive. But I highly doubt this turret will be able to survive. Wait for the turret to attack a minion, and Impunity juggling turret aggro better than I've seen a couple of other teams do. It is quite hard this patch to actually juggle target aggro effectively. It will target heroes much more aggressively.
Yep, there you go. Impunity just showing where the strength lies, and that's the objective taking, and just not allowing the entirety of J3X Inferno to breathe whatsoever. DefQ, however, may be caught up by Nibim, but DefQ will just TP back home safely.
Yeah, that is a very greedy port. If Nabim would face check the bush, he would home, but greedy ports are always the most fun to watch. Now Lyra's going to rotate up to lane to try turret falling, and DefQ actually taking the backs with Bluxley. This is risky, but it looks like they're not. J3X Inferno is not going to push too hard, so that is a net gold gain for DefQ. But he wants to go in. One shot, one kill does actually land onto Baby. Easy kill secured by the Kestrel. Now Kahlua is going very low. That's a lovely on point to slow. Glimmer shot secures a second kill. Bluxley 4-0, playing extremely well. And he wants to get a triple onto Nabim. It will most likely not be an ace. Afterburn is up, but Nabim's considering afterburning Kestrel aggressively, but he's just going to go defensive, secure the farm, and I'd expect a gold mine taken pretty simply by Impunity.
Yep, and there is one thing that I wanted to talk about earlier on. It's that although they did change the role in terms of the type of carry they are, but we must agree on one thing, and that it's because, you know, they are just so very comfortable. We talked about this yesterday. We just kept saying and going on how comfortable Impunity are on the heroes, and I really like the rotations that's coming up from Impunity. They are, although, you know, they are just taking full advantage for the fact that the entirety of J3X Inferno do not have the push like they wanted, or else, you know, with DefQ going to the backs of their backs, J3X Inferno could have easily just pushed this turret, but because of the rotation and Impunity understanding that the entirety of J3X Inferno lack the push, lack the siege potential, they can actually afford to do that.
Baby could be in a bad position. Face checking that bush, but a good flare from Kahlua spots them out. Baby taking 400 damage. That's going to be another 400 damage. DefQ to Sky, and Arden did use the fountain. There's the gauntlet thrown down onto Bluxty. He's going to block his way out. Crucible also was wasted, unfortunately. Not best communication there, and one shot isn't available to finish Baby. Bluxty knows where Baby is, but is far too far away, and DefQ a bit too aggressive. He's now bought himself a reflex block, but he was just dived in on Sky unnecessarily, really. If he'd just waited for Sky to try and deal damage to him, just had to wait on point, and that's an easy kill. And but that is nice. Actually, no shutdown because DefQ didn't have any kills, so not only 200 gold was actually given over to Baby.
Yeah, I mean, DefQ assisted a lot and did not secure much kills. All the kills just lie on Blue City, on that of Castro. I mean, granted, for a Black Feather, a lot of the times you just really want to poke with your on point, and that is about it. You have your burst, you have to wait for your on point to come up, and once you have enough like heart drop stacks on your enemies, then you go in with a feint of heart for the execute. Else, you really just want to be patient and really very much play like a mage, all in all.
And here we're going to see a bit of mage poke from DefQ, not quite landing those on points. Baby is trying to dodge as much as he can, probably wants to upgrade his boots to at least travel boots, and that will really help Baby stop getting hit by these glimmer shots and these on points. Now Bim spots the treant being started. Is he going to steal it? No, tad late, and Afterburn was used, so he's just going to back off. Glaive actually only with a tension bow completed and still hasn't got a full breaking point, so 4k gold lead for Impunity means if they fight now, they are in an extremely good position. Again, with Baby now can pick up a broken myth, so will be even on items with DefQ. Before that was actually still only had one item, so Impunity possibly wasting an opportunity to fight when they were ahead on items.
Yeah, but on top of that as well, in that previous fight that DefQ was taken down, it was really just down to how he rose offensive. He rose offensive into the entire team.
And speaking of the entire team, Baby face checking the bush, getting caught out, and on point does not land. But the Imperial Sigil doing so much work for God of War, keeping DefQ nice and healthy. Now Impunity are going to look to try and either push a turret or rotate to gold mine. Most likely they want to get this tier 2 turret. Nice wave push. Now Bim is waiting for that perfect afterburn. Woodbar has got the right bulwark to try and attempt to deny it. Really good poke onto Bim. He's probably forced to back off. Kahlua is not in a good position for Arden. There's no reason for him to be there. He's going to fall, not using Fountain, Crucible or Healing Flask. And that is not what you want to do as a captain. Bluxty is taking the turret shot, so they have to back off, wait for turret to try and refocus, and then go in. Wow. Almost dead. One shot in 6 seconds, but he will be able to put home before the one shot is available. DefQ taking the poke, but nice speed boost from Lyra to get him out of that forward barrage, and this will probably be the tier 2 turret. Kestrel, a lot of damage, and that's a forward barrage in the wrong direction. Easy turret for Impunity, and DefQ wants more, but he's not going to go too far. One shot, a little bit wide. Bim is going to take that on point and afterburn away. Impunity have had a tier 2 turret. They want a tier 3. No, they're just going to push the wave and either rotate to gold mine or have a quick shop. And that's a really good push and siege from Impunity.
Yep, definitely. I mean, Impunity was just playing so well in that particular siege. Just very, very patient. And, you know, Naibim, or rather, I think it was just down to Kahlua. Kahlua just took too much unnecessary damage, and thus putting them, you know, giving Impunity that man advantage, and thus Impunity could easily push a turret. Had Kahlua just probably popped the healing flask, if not then any healing of sorts, just to keep him a little alive, probably throw down the gauntlet as well, and try to force a fight, then it might have been a better outcome. They wouldn't have quite lost the first turret. But all in all, I must say, it was just really well played coming out from Impunity, able to juggle the turret aggro firstly, and on top of that as well, able to predict as and when a Naibim comes in with those afterburn. However, in the previous fight itself, or rather not even a fight, it was just a push or siege try coming out from Impunity, in which they were successful. Of course, Naibim just did not even come in.
There's the gauntlet going down. DefQ not quite able to block. DefQ owning out Bluxty. Woodbar going to get punted away and going to use Arcane Passage. Good. So if Impunity get in a bad position, they can just Arcane Passage towards their turret, but they're going to go in aggressive. Naibim is going to fall through the Black Feather. DefQ wants the most offensive in. Some nice forward barrage from Baby to try and poke DefQ away, but he's got an on point. One more will go on to Kahlua. One shot onto Baby. Baby's going to Sewer Strike away. DefQ taking the poke, but he's going to put it back onto Kahlua. He is going to fall, and DefQ diving on the turrets. That is another 1 point. 9 broken mid stacks. Ace for Impunity. And DefQ is going to wait for a Rose offensive, but he's just got to wait a bit more. And there's the turret, so he'll be able to get away.
Yep, I don't think they'll be able to secure this turret. Bim is coming back for more.
Here's DefQ, has not had enough yet. That Eve of Harvest giving him so much healing. And it's just going to back off, not actually able to get the tier 3 turret because DefQ was slightly out of position, so they weren't able to push it. But this will be an easy gold mine, and the gold lead Luxury is just extending vastly for Impunity.
Definitely, I mean, Impunity at this point in time just looking very strong, although it hasn't been quite the action-packed match that we've witnessed Impunity had in the past, where, you know, they just cycle on those kills after kills. But at this point in time, at least what Impunity is doing is going for those objectives and just playing the game of 2.8, in which would be aggressive control. Whereas for the side of J3X Infenro, one pattern that we can just point out, or rather we witness from them, it's their hunger, or rather how bloodthirsty they are.
Yeah, they do want to fight an awful lot, and they are trying. It's down. Mim could go for an afterburn, and that would quite well not be available. Baby just going to go a bit of aggressive forward barrage onto Bluxity, and Impunity are going to try and push this wave into the turret. Aren't that many minions though, so they're going to have to wait a bit. Mim could be in trouble. Crystal Sentry is joining the fight, so this is a time for J3X Infenro. Now the time is now to fight. Throw the gauntlet down. It is going to be blocked up. DefQ manages to most offensive away, and that was a wasted gauntlet, but Crucible was used as well. So not great for Kalua. They lost the Crystal Sentry. He lost his gauntlet for another 80 seconds. And Impunity probably going to take one gold mine just before Kraken spawns, just to maximise that gold payout. And they're really not going to get the tier 3 turret, so it just makes sense for them to push the wave, get gold mine, and then position to either take Kraken or take a fight around Kraken.
I mean, at this point in time, with Impunity just so close to the 10k gold lead, even if Kalua do drop the gauntlet down, I think Impunity fighting in that arena
could be a good thing for them, but DefQ is going to get away out of the afterburn, and that could be Bluxity in trouble. Baby, lovely forward barrage, but the Imperials will keep him. Kalua, that's an afterburn. DefQ's going to block it up, and he's going to go defensive through Baby Kalua. Kestrel picks up the kill, and now Baby is the last one left standing. No chance to run away. Double for Black Feather. Ace again for Impunity. And are they just going to push for the win, Luxuria? No, they're probably going to take the Kraken now.
Yep, they will definitely go for the Kraken. Oh, no. Well,
why not?
Hold that.
They just wanted a sentry for some reason. They decided, sentry will be going. Let's split aggro on these turrets. Glue it up in 3 seconds, but no carry for another 5. Turrets taken down simultaneously-ish. And now Bluxity's onto the Vein Crystal. And another bright bulwark, snaring out Glaive out of his afterburn. And that is a game 2 and the win to Impunity.
That was spectacular, to say the least, and good game, well played for both teams. J3X Infenro in that first game definitely looks like they've got a slight chance going up against Impunity. However, we did mention Impunity just looking like a very strong team coming into the season, and in fact the reigning champions of the summer season. So at this point in time, Impunity really just putting their feet down and say, if you want to come up against us,